Hello and welcome. Welcome to another Conversation in Consciousness with Lisa and Keith. I am Lisa Warner, author of The Simplicity of Self Healing.
And I am Keith Leon S., author, publisher, and filmmaker. So happy that you're here with us today.
So, Keith, what's our conversation topic today?
Ooh, it is Restoring Paradise, Weaving the Fabric of Reality. Another sip of
Yes.
coffee.
Woo. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. We are here to restore paradise. This planet was created as a paradise. The original divine design was the Garden of Eden, like literal paradise. And then we kind of tripped and fell and we experienced a large fall of consciousness, and paradise kind of became unraveled, and we kind of lost paradise for a while there. And now this is the time where we get to come back and actually restore paradise, where we start to reweave the fabric of reality on this planet. So this is a great topic.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, I've been hearing as long as I can remember, because I grew up in the church, right? About the last days. These are the last days. And in the last days, everything goes to hell, basically, right? and it's funny because they were already saying that when I was really young, and things were seemingly so much better then than they are now. So you can imagine how they see it now. So it is an interesting place that we're living in right now, and there's so many levels to this conversation that I'm looking forward to opening. So go ahead and kick us off.
I'm not really sure, not sure why, but when I was 2 years old, I would have this experience of being in this beautiful, amazing space. It was a non-physical space it was just filled with light and filled with unconditional love. And from that space, I knew that that is eternity. That is what is always there. And from that space, I could kind of quote unquote turn around, even though I didn't have a body. I could move my attention point to Earth, and I could see that on Earth it was like, whoa, those guys are not doing this space of love and light there. Like, I could see all of the wars, all of the fighting, all of the crazy stuff that was going on, the death and the destruction and the disease. And I was like, that's not the way it's supposed to be. It was really, really clear to me. And I could see old people in nursing homes that were just basically waiting to die because their bodies were not going to rejuvenate. And I knew beyond the shadow of a doubt that that was not the way that this was supposed to be here. And it was also clear to me that this was a prison. I could see that we were pretty much trapped here as a society. And I was really confused about, like, why had I been sent to prison? Like, what's going on here? And it was an assumption that I made that I had been sent to prison, but but it was only many, many, many years later that I realized, oh, I'm here to start dismantling the prison and to start setting this planet free so we can start restoring this planet, so we can start bringing all of that light and all of that love back to Earth. So it was a really interesting journey getting from point A to point B. But now it's really clear to me that there are those of us who have been sent here to open our wings, to remember that we are grand beings of light, that we are the angels that have come into human form, and that these human forms are simply the forms that we're using. They're not who we are. We are these grand beings of light. And as the grand beings of light, we are here to start restoring planet Earth. So we're doing that by not by fighting, not by trying to destroy what is, but to simply step out and say, no, I'm not going to participate in all of that stuff. I'm here to create something different. And then have the courage to really open our wings and be different than everybody else, be different than what we've been taught to be, to not just follow the rules because we've been told that we have to follow the rules or we're going to get punished. It's like, no, if those rules don't make sense, no, I'm going to do what makes sense for me. I'm going to be the love. I'm going to be the light. And I'm going to stand up and help to change things. What do you think?
Yeah, and that's like, I'm so grateful that over the last few years I've heard a lot more people talking about this, because I felt like it was, you, me, Mara, and a couple other people maybe. uh, we're the only people trying to restore paradise, get this place back to love and all the beautiful qualities that it can be and is currently. Uh, and that's a huge piece. Is that I believe it's the lens that we put on it is what it is. So where everything can be seemingly a shambles, especially if you watch the news and focus on that, it can seemingly outside of us be a shambles in shambles. But what if the seeming outside stuff in the world didn't affect you in any way? And that's where I've chose to live from for as long as I can remember, really. So I'm not talking about spiritual bypass. I'm not pretending that stuff isn't out there. Uh, I simply, instead, I don't allow the story being told to affect my reality personally. And I'm able to hear about those things and see the blessing before other people do, see the other side of what I'm hearing or what's being shared, to already project myself to the other side, and how even something seemingly horrific may be a blessing if it brings people to where we're at sooner. If like many years of people said, what do you mean all everything is good? Right? What do you mean all is well? What do you mean everything is good? And they would throw out something horrible as an example. Tell me how that's good. Or how's love the answer to that? Love is the answer to every question, I like to say. How is love the answer to that thing? And they throw out something horrible, and I can already jump to the other side. I had an uncle who got he was like a teacher, and he apparently was um, being too handsy with some of his sports team, and ended up going to prison for that. And everybody else, and I mean all the church folks, his family, they were all, sealed for time and on all eternity promises they made, and then they just cut him off like completely, and he was sitting in jail all alone. And I was the one who kept in contact uh, and still talked to him. And he was like, "Why do you still talk to me?" And I said, "Well, since you've been in there, what are you doing?" And he's like, he's repenting, he's doing work on himself. What else are you doing? Well, I've been having a church service, because he was a leader in the church. I've been having a church service every Sunday, and it's filling up. Like all these people were coming to have this service on Sunday and come back to God, right? And so it's like, huh, okay. So one, he asked for forgiveness, which the book they read says that's all you have to do. Two, he's actually working on figuring out what was going on to be able to try to fix that. And then also he's bringing God to people uh, who are accepting it, and we're looking for that. And so, huh? And what if some of those people, because of the services that he's giving, do have transformation, do turn things around, and then when they go out in the world, have a better experience instead of repeating the same behavior habitually? It's like we don't know. We don't know. Uh, so there's so many blessings in that, and then well, what about the kids? If those kids do the work that they need to do to heal and get on the other side, and then they become counselors and they help other people who have that experience to be able to move through it, and they end up helping a lot of people, there's a blessing there. Right? I mean, I'm one of those people that happened to when I was young, and I've lived through it and moved through it, and done the work that I needed to do to forgive and all of that, and I did that without somebody helping me. So imagine if I had somebody who would have helped me through that. So all that to say, I could usually get and see the blessing faster instead of waiting around for it, because I'm looking,
Mm.
right. And so when we talk about heaven on earth, I choose to look at this beautiful place that we live in and see the beauty that's already here. See my friendship with you and beautiful community here in the Adirondacks, and so much support and love that you give me and Mara, and I'm so grateful for that, right? And I see the beauty of the trees and the flowers and the sky and all of that, and I don't watch the news, and so in in my reality, so much of it is heaven on earth. And it's only when I bring other people's story or the way that they're seeing it, then I can start to see where they don't feel that it's heaven on earth. But for me, it's a choice, and it's what I create in my reality, uh, whether I have heaven on earth or not. It's up to me. And of course, I am doing things to support the rest of the world catching up, right? I'm making films, I'm speaking, I've done led workshops, I've written books, I've published books by well over 100 authors who are doing this beautiful work. So it's not, well, again, it's not like I'm spiritually bypassing and pretending like something's not there. I just choose to be the message for heaven on earth and to personally experience it, because otherwise, what am I doing? I didn't come here and choose to be in this body to be miserable, and I certainly didn't choose to be in this body to just sit around and complain and not be the message for like what we're talking about today.
Exactly. I think that's such an important point, that you have to look for for what you want to see. You know, we have been so trained to look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this disaster, look at this terrible thing, look at that terrible thing. And, you know, if we just allow ourselves to be focused by the external world, you know, if we're looking at the news, if we're looking at social media, if we're looking at all of that stuff, then we're allowing our attention point to be moved for us. And if somebody else is moving your attention point for you, you're going to see what they want you to see. And we completely miss all the beauty, all of the amazing, incredible things. And, you know, we're here, and when our attention point is being moved for us, and, you know, look at this terrible disaster, look at that, and then we get upset about it, it triggers us, then that trigger is the sign that we have just put our finger in the socket. It's like, bzzz. And what we put our finger in the socket of, we're adding energy to, because that socket is, it's not like we're the light and we plug into the socket. It's the opposite way around, because when we get charged by the external world, that's the sign that the external world is draining our energy from us. So it's so vitally important to be the manager of your own attention point and be able to focus on what it is that we want to see. And that's not about spiritual bypassing at all. It's about seeing the beauty, the joy, the possibilities that are already here. Because if we're looking at all of the stuff that we don't want to see, then we can't see the beauty that's already here. And then we just overlook it. And that's like we bypass all of the great stuff and just add our energy to the stuff that we don't want. So becoming really masterful with our own attention point is really, really important.
Hmm. Yes, yes, yes. And I truly believe that when we vision, right, meditate and see vision, that we're so many times in my life, let me just say what I've visioned has manifested, has produced in my life. And so for a long time, I was visioning, like seeing or imagining things happening, and, and they would happen pretty fast a lot of the time. And then somebody uh, talked about feelingization. So they said visualization is cool, it does create it, but if you want to speed it up, if you want to ramp it up, then bring the feeling of feeling what it'd be like to have the thing, feeling what it feels like to be inside the house, be in the car, be in the boat, be in the whatever you're feeling, eyes it into existence. And that was my mentor at the time, Fletch Rainey. It feels so good when I'm feelingizing those things, right? So I'm bringing in attention, bringing in focus, managing the energy, like you're talking about, and then feeling what it would feel like when all of those good things happen. And sometimes those are things in the outside world, oh, my uncle is sick, will you pray for him? I won't just pray for him. I will go into feeling what it feels like in his body to be healthy, to be on the other side, to have received all the prayers and all the love and all the light. And what realization did I have to get to this blessing and just take it to a whole nother level of other than just like a car deal, praying, hey God, will you heal this person, as if that was outside of me. I just take the experience inside of me and pretend or know, however you want to look at it, that I have the power to affect that person. Because I've seen over and over people bring their attention to somebody's healing, and especially in large numbers, that it creates miracles. And I saw that with my son, who had a aneurysm in his brain, and man, all the miracles that happen when that prayer, right? I put it up on Facebook. I reached out to some people I know who are really well known, who had huge outreach, and one of them actually was the president of a church, and they put it out to every church in the whole organization to pray for my son that day. So it was all over the world. And Facebook, it was like went viral. Pray for Timur, pray for Timur. And I mean, he went from assaulted brain aneurysm, brain surgery, to walking out of the hospital on his own. I think it was 4 days later. And where they said he may never walk again, he may never talk again, blah, blah, blah. And I said, last time you say that, right? Here's what's happening. And we told him what was happening. He said, can you get on board with that? Can you see that? Can you visualize that? Because if not, we need to replace you. and every nurse and every person that even got to be in his field had to have that same energy, or we just simply removed him. And yeah, so that was the thing. When he got up and was walking out of that hospital, nurses were crying, and they were like, "That's why we do this. This is why we do this. That's why we put in all these long hours and do what we do, because every once in a while we get to see that. It's just a seeming miracle happen, and that's what's available. We don't sit around and focus on what's wrong in the world and how crappy it is, and how it's gone to pot, and there's wars and rumors of wars and gang violence and blah blah blah. It's like wow. If even when I watch the news, I'm just like, what if any of this did I even need to know? Like,
Right.
it just seems like there's literally no purpose for it other than to make people unhappy, sick, and scared. I mean, I can't even think of one reason for most of it. There might be something local. If they report a couple of people got jumped down the block, maybe I'll take another block when I do the walk. But unless it's like that local, there's so much of it. I'm just like, I don't understand why this is being reported, or why anybody would even need to know about it, because where energy tension goes, energy flows. And if this is what everybody's energy is on, gee, I wonder what's creating all this horrific crap that's on the news. The right, the just completely perpetuating, creating it over and over and over again. And that's why we call it the olds. We don't call it the news at our house, because there's nothing new. It's the same story over and over and over again. Bad, bad, bad. Fear, fear. War, war. Scare, scare. Drugs, drugs. Go, go. Yeah, same thing over and over again. So I
Right.
just
Exactly.
choose not to put my attention there.
Yeah. They call it predictive programming. Well, yeah, they when you gather enough attention points on one thing, that thing manifests. So
Yes.
it's not like anybody is predicting the future in like that ball. It's like, here, let's create this future. They're literally just telling us what to create. So it's
And
very
isn't it
interesting.
interesting? And isn't it interesting that they use the laws that we talk about? They
Yes.
know about them, and they use them for nefarious reasons, right? For not so great reasons, to
Yeah.
create not so great things. And then when we're talking and we're ultra spiritual and we're trying to bring good, then we're these, nut job, airy fairy.
Crazy.
That's how that we're portrayed. Yeah, crazy folk talking about affirmations. Come on. And it's like they're doing it all day long and laughing. Saying, we know this stuff works because we're doing it, but
Mhm.
then we call those people cuckoo. It's pretty
Yeah.
funny.
And then when we manifest things like Timar's situation, uh, and it's so unusual for that to happen, they call it a miracle. Well, it's just science. Like, it's literally, that is the divine design. That is how it is designed to work. But because it doesn't work that way for the most part, because our attention point has been, in that fall of consciousness, we have fallen out of the divine design, and we have forgotten how science actually works. What they call science on this planet is really not the science. Science is literally the laws of the universe. How the universe works is what science is. And,
Yeah.
ask and it is given. That's actually how the universe works, that we are these grand creator beings. And that story is actually what's natural and normal, but it's deemed as a miracle because hardly anybody knows how to do that anymore.
Yeah. And everything is set up in movies, in shows, everything to make it so that when somebody goes to a doctor and they get a diagnosis, from that second on, it's all negative recreation perpetuating that diagnosis. So it's, oh, I get the diagnosis. I go, oh God, what do I do? Giving the power to someone else. Then
Yeah.
someone else says, oh, we're going to do this, or it's too late, or whatever. Then that person goes out and says, oh, guess what? Oh, I have to tell you this. Oh, and everybody they tell goes, oh my God, boom, negative, negative. What are you going to do? Oh, negative, negative. Oh God, just drama, dramas, fear, fears, worry, scare, and and then let me do this procedure where they're going to take me literally to the edge of death, one shot at a time or one thing at a time, and then I'm going to finally be at death's door, which would have happened without all the stuff and the hair falling out, by the way. But then I'll be at death's door, maybe, and then I'll finally make the decision whether I want to live or die, and then that's what'll happen, whatever I choose. Like
Yeah.
I've just seen this over and over and over again. It's like people get to the edge and they're either like, I'm tired of fighting, I'm gonna go, and then they do every time, or you know what? I'm gonna come back. They say I'm gonna fight, but I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna lick this thing, right? And whatever stage they get into, I'm gonna lick this thing and then get into that energy I've just seen over and over again works. So
Mhm.
so what is creating the healing? I'm gonna lick this thing, right? It's turning that energy back around from fear. Oh my God, what should I do? Giving the power to someone else to taking the power back and saying, "Ooh, what caused this? What could? Oh God, I was in a lot of stress. Oh my God, so much stress. And I wasn't sleeping and wasn't eating or whatever it was. Right? Oh my God. Okay. I see that. I see how that could. Oh wow. So how do I change that thing in my life? Well, I got time on my hands right now, so let me sit down and really focus on that. And boom, where energy,
Exactly.
where attention goes, the energy flows. Next thing you know, I had this healing. It's a miracle, is it though? Because it is, and miracles happen every day. That's all that to say. It is, and miracles happen every day. It's just they're not talked about as much as all the other stuff because that's they don't want people don't want you to know that. People
They
that
don't
are
make any
selling,
money. They can't
right,
make money on miracles,
right,
right? Like,
right. What if we could though? What if we could make money on miracles? What if everybody said, "Oh, wow, you have the appearance of this, and let me ask you some questions. What was your life up until then? What was going on in your world? How
Mhm.
many hours were you working? Are you drinking a lot of alcohol? Or are you smoking? Like, just what was going on? Oh, wow. Might this been right? What if we could? What if that's what doctors did? I
Yeah,
love that story. I
yeah,
love to see that vision.
exactly.
And there
Yeah,
are so many of those doctors out there, but where do you find them?
yeah. A lot of them lose their licenses, because
Yeah,
you don't want people doing that. Like, so,
yeah,
yeah, when we look at, when I look at the original design of this planet, like it's easy to actually see the original design of the planet. It's when you go out into nature and you simply observe the ecosystem. You observe the insects and the plants and the trees and the animals and how they all work together. They all have their own, like the bees, they pollinate the flowers, which then help to propagate the flowers, which and the birds eat the seed, or spread the seeds, or the bears eat the berries and then they spread the seeds. Like everything works together to create a harmonious, perpetual, thriving ecosystem. Like we can see how that all works and how every species is adding their own unique magic to the ecosystem, to nature. And we see it. And then we look at when man gets involved, it's like, oh, well, we're going to pave over that, oh, we can cut all those trees down and use those for making a lot of money. And then all of a sudden, the whole ecosystem is thrown off, and man is the only variable there. But once so that fall of consciousness that happened really separated man from nature. It separated man from God, separated man from divine wisdom, separated man from our own paradise. Then it started separating men and women, and those men over there, and those countries over there, and those religions over there. And then that whole divide and conquer thing has been going on. And this is where all, like, the paradise literally has been degrading. And that's the whole where dis-ease has become rampant on this planet. So as we start to realize, well, wait a second, we're fighting, we're trying to earn a living just to survive, and it makes it like, wait a second, what if we all work together? What if we come together and start creating beauty? What if we come together and start creating our own communities? What if we can
Yes.
come together and start to change the story? What if we come together and get enough of us focused on creating paradise, reweaving the fabric of society? What if we come together and come to a mutual agreement of changing the energy of money, changing the energy of society, changing what it is that we focus on? And what if we come together and start actually loving and supporting each other rather than pointing fingers at those over there and those over there? Because the
Yeah.
pointing fingers of those over there and those over there, that creates the enemies. But are there actually any enemies? No, we're just taught that. That's
Right.
just a psychological program. So what if we all come together? And you and I have experienced this in real time, where groups of us come together, and we come together in agreement, working with the four agreements, and we start treating each other with so much love and dignity and respect. And where I used to think that I was the only one, like I didn't have any friends, like nobody, I didn't see anybody that was on my same wavelength. And then all of a sudden I met Keith and Mara, and I was like, oh, wait a second, and then there are these people and these people. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, we're everywhere. Like, people are good hearted, loving people are everywhere. And when we start coming together, we start reweaving the fabric of the reality. And we come together and we can start to consciously create paradise, recreate it, not by fighting what's been going on, but simply by stopping participating in all of the stuff that's going on that is an insult to our soul. And we start actually gathering together and creating what we truly desire, and creating it from the love and the light that we are.
And human nature is what we're talking about. Like the proof of that is if there's a car accident on the corner in the city, watch how many people stop and jump to aid, like jump to help those people. There's somebody pulling them out of the car saying, you're okay, or praying with them or doing what they're doing. There's another person calling the ambulance. There's another people pushing the car out of the street. I mean, people instantly jump to support somebody. I've seen, if someone's trying to snatch a woman's purse, there's somebody's gonna chase that sucker down and either catch him or lose him, but it's gonna be like in pursuit. I'm gonna get that back. It's so many ways that people in crisis, we'll absolutely show up because that's the nature of who we are. And that's not something that can be programmed out because it's innate. We're born with it. And it's not a programming, it's just who we are. And
Exactly.
and when you're talking about like our community, I often think about when we go for a hike and we end up at the river and we're all sitting around and we're when we watch a movie that's like everything all at once, like one of those movies that's thought provoking and talks about multiple dimensions or layers or whatever, and the conversations that we have, our group, I often think, oh, I wish I would have captured that. Like I wish other people could hear the things that we talk about. And that's the thing. I think it would be fun to start throwing up a camera when we get together and just recording it so that when those things happen, and we're all like, oh, whoa, we could go, because I think if it was up all the time, we would forget that it's there, and then that way when those things happen, that would probably be the only footage keep. But those times where we're like, whoa, right? Get into one of those conversations. That's the stuff I would love to have because
Yeah. What
our
if every
conversation.
like I remember as I was growing up, like the bar scene was like, that was like social. You go out to socialize, like you go out to a bar,
Yeah,
like that was like
yeah,
the normal thing.
yeah.
I could not handle the conversations that were going on. I just thought, this, why are we talking about, this just meaningless
Surface.
stuff? It's like, what if that whole bar scene was like a gathering of conscious people where we could really have some amazing conversations and not
Yeah,
about, I'm right and you're wrong, or, did you see what that guy did down there the other day? And, did you hear about so? What if we could really just have conscious conversation, and it would be fun to go out and socialize with people? Wouldn't that be cool?
that's one of the things that one of the people that I mentor wants to create are bars where it is an alcohol. It's like uh, legal mushroom tea and coffees and all different types of teas, and it's like
Yeah,
super
fresh
healthy things
pressed
that you're
juices,
drinking. Yeah, super healthy things that you're drinking
right?
and at a bar, but it's not. There's no alcohol,
Yeah,
and having sparks, like having things on the table of just like sparks conversations to kick off those type of conversations. It's just gonna be so cool.
that'd be right. Wouldn't that be amazing to really
Yeah,
start bringing people back together again? Because people didn't like, as soon as you're out at the bar, it doesn't take a whole long time for everybody and nobody's making any sense whatsoever anymore.
yeah,
Wouldn't it be just lovely to have some real conscious conversations out in the world? Which is why you and I are doing this, just to spark some, like, hey, let's really up the level of conversation that we have.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There was a workshop that I did one time that had us do. It's called the Out in the World stretch, and that is to go out in the world and not come back until you had three essential connections. So three people that you didn't know at all before, and you were willing to go up and just start up a conversation and connect heart to heart with that person, then and then move on and do it again. And wow, that was such a powerful experience. And I've done it since. When I was in England and I was on my angel tour and it was just me, I was by myself. I would go down by the Thames on a bench and sit in a place that was somewhat populated and connect with people, or they would say, "Oh, can I sit here?" And then start a conversation with them. I had so many incredible essential connections with people, and a lot of them did go to what where we're talking about. I was sharing things that they never had heard from anybody else because I was on the Angel tour. That's where it started. What are you doing? Oh, I'm on a tour for my book. Oh my God, you're an author? Yeah, yeah, actually, and a publisher and a speaker, and so that's where we started. So it just, oh, what are you sharing? What are you teaching? And so there were all those conversations, and then Mara and I one time on Valentine's Day. We just think it's silly that couples that there was a holiday made up for couples to tell each other that they love her one day a year. So so we giggle when that holiday happens because we love up on each other every day and tell each other all the time and give each other gifts that are better than flowers and chocolate. But so one day on that day, on Valentine's Day, Mara and I were like, "Oh, what can we do? It's totally scary, but it would be out in the world stretch." And so we created one of those, call it a cootie catcher, or I've heard other names where it's that thing
Oh
that
yeah.
we all had when we were kids, and then you
Yep.
open it up at the end after choosing the color and numbers, and then there's a message inside. Well, we called it the love game. You want to play the love game? So we were just asking strangers in a mall, all these people in a mall, hey, do you want to play the love game? And so people were just like, get the heck away from me. And some people were like, what's the love game? And then some people were like, sure. And so there's a lot of people looking at us like we're absolutely nuts. But then we'd do the thing and then we'd get to a great relationship question and then to receive the answers that they said and then have a little conversation about that. It was super scary just asking total strangers, you want to play the love game? It was hilarious, but we did it and we faced that fear, and because of that we had some incredible connections with people.
Wow.
And ultimately the security guard at the mall came up and he was like, are you the people that keep asking people if they want to play the love game? And we're like, yeah, thinking we're going to get kicked out. And he's like, I want to play. And so he played, and the question that he got was something that he was really looking at the time. And we just deep dived into the most essential, incredible connection of the day was with the security guy that we thought was going to kick us out. And so you never know. And once you get into real conversations with people and get past all of the surface stuff, um, everybody has like the same questions, and everybody wants to love and be loved, and everybody wants to love and be loved. Did I mention everybody wants to love and be loved? Because that's love is our true nature. And we want to give it and we want to receive it, and that's why we're here. And everything else is surface talk to get to that point. I've noticed a million different ways of saying it over and over again, packaging it, but you just go layer after layer, and when you get to the core, that's it. That's always the conversation. Something about giving love or receiving love, being loved or being loved. That's the nature of it all.
Yeah, because that's who and what we are as souls. Love is literally the fabric of all that is. It's the substance of who and what we are.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah, I just received a I just received a wedding invitation. It's like the most elaborate. It's like a mini book. It's the coolest invitation I've ever seen. And then the last few pages are these beautiful pictures of Italy, the water, because that's where the wedding's going to be, Italy. And then there were quotes about love. And one of them was, love is the answer to every question. I was like, oh, I got featured in a wedding invitation. My quote. That was so cool. Yeah, talk about feeling honored.
Yeah, love is absolutely the answer to every question because it is who and what we are. And when we be who we truly are, then we're in harmony with life itself. And all the wobbles just melt away because the wobbles are where we're not being true to who we are. It's amazing.
Yes. Yes. So paradise is inside of me, especially when I'm focused on love and have meditated and doing the right things and loving people and doing all the things that I create my paradise, and then I do things in the world to support um, the rest of the world joining us,
Mhm.
right? One one teeny baby step at a time. That's what we can do. Can I leave this place better than I found it? That's my
Yeah,
goal.
exactly. Right? It's like where we live here in the Adirondacks. We have there's kind of a rule that says carry out what you carried in, or if you find it on the trail, pick it up and carry it out. Mm, Leave it clean. This is
Yeah.
yeah. This beautiful, beautiful planet is such an incredible paradise. So we are here to help restore paradise, to start to remember that we are intimately interconnected with this gorgeous planet, with life on this planet. We don't have lives, we are life itself, expressing through these physical bodies. And we've just been taught how to express ourselves. You have to you have to climb your way to the top of the corporate ladder. You got to pay your taxes. You got to do this, that, and the other thing. And no, you can't do that because that'll never make you any money. You can't be a singer. You can't be an actor. You're not going to make any money. You got to have an actual career. Like, oh, okay.
And thank,
It's
and
like,
thank
so
goodness,
we've been taught how to be.
thank goodness the actors and musicians don't all listen to that
Exactly.
garbage story. We'd have no movies, no plays, no music.
Right? Exactly. And think about how those things make the world a better place. That's not where the majority of the focus is currently. So, what if we all take our attention point back and choose to refocus? Choose to stop listening to the prescribed narratives, and we start to take our own narratives into our own hands, to start looking at, where do I have my finger in the socket? Am I feeling anxiety or fear or doubt or any of those other life depleting signs? Where can I stop giving my own personal energy away? And where can I turn my light back on so that all of a sudden I start to become brilliant, radiant, because that's the nature of the light. It's brilliant and radiant by nature. We've been taught brilliance is about learning stuff, having intellectual knowledge. It's not brilliance. It can be, but in general, it's not. And in general, the majority of people kind of walk around with their light dimmed and of feeling pressured or stressed or worried. But when we start to turn our light back on and let our inner light shine, we become brilliant, we become radiant, we become loving because we start to become who we truly are. And when we're being who we truly are, we feel good. And when we feel good, we feel good. It feels good to feel good. And when we start to feel good, our bodies start to heal. We start to feel comfortable in our own skin. We start to feel more confident capable, certain. It's easier to have conversations with others because we start to feel more at home speaking our truth. And then this world starts to change form right in front of our eyes because we start to see the beauty. We start to see the paradise that's already here. It's been here the entire time. It's just that our attention points have been focused for us for a really long time, since childhood. Now you're going to go to school. Now you're going to focus on English. Now you're going to focus on math. Now you're going to focus on science. Now you're going to focus on some history that we're going to tell you is true. What if we were allowed to have our consciousness unfold naturally? What if we were allowed to have the universe be our teacher? What if the universe is designed to be our teacher? What if nature is designed to be our teacher? What if the universe and the nature that loves us unconditionally was actually our greatest teacher? How would that change things? What if heaven on earth is actually the divine design? And what if it takes far less time to restore paradise than it did to destroy paradise? What if healing happens quickly? What if we, as a collective, have the ability to turn things around quickly, easily, effortlessly, joyfully? What if all it takes is us coming together, supporting each other, helping each other, encouraging each other, pointing out all of the beauty that surrounds us? Hey, look over there. Can you hear that bird? Hey, look at those brand new leaves coming out. Hey, can you smell the sweet fragrance of these apple blossoms? What if that was the news? What if all the news was good news? What if we spent time focusing, pointing out all of the good news? I went somewhere with somebody yesterday and all the spring green was coming out, all the new leaves, the blossoms were coming out. And when I got out of the car, I could just smell the sweet scent of these blossoms. The fragrance in the air was just heavenly. And I said, "Hey, can you smell that?" Like, "I don't smell anything." It's like, "Really?" "I smell this sweet fragrance." And it took them a minute to, and when they started to look for it, it's like, oh, now I can smell it. But they didn't notice until I pointed it out. So, what if we were all pointing out beautiful things to each other all the time? What if we started looking for that which we want to see? What if we started looking for paradise? Because it's right here. All we have to do is notice and stop looking in the direction that we're being told to look. What if it would be that simple? Is to start looking around us, in nature, and within us for our own brilliance, for our own soul, for the light and the love that is always inside. What if it was really that simple?
It is. And you're asking all the right questions. And those of you that are watching this or listening later, repeat after me. The quality of my life is based on the quality of my questions. So I'll speak for myself now. The quality of my life is based on the quality of my questions, and all the questions that Lisa was just saying and asking. Every one of those questions, if we got the answer to that question, makes our world, this world, a better place, brings us closer to restoring paradise. Um, the quality of the questions that I ask when I'm in meditation are questions like, what is my true nature? Right? What is the nature of fill in the blank? What is the nature of peace? What is the nature of love? What's the true nature of being a difference maker? What's the true nature of fill in the blank? Anything that you'd love the answer to. And then I just spin that question. What is the nature of? What is the true nature of? And whew, all these wonderful things pop in because we're directly connected to that source where it came from, and that knows exactly what paradise is and actually created it for us to live in. So all those answers are available.
Yeah, the quality of the questions that we ask. It's so important. So many of us ask the questions, what's wrong with me? Why did this happen to me? And those are never questions that we want the answer to. So when we start asking good quality questions, we start to receive good quality answers. So make sure we're asking good quality questions.
And that's how we know when it's been an hour. Headphones do that thing.
Keith's headphones lets us know when the time is up.
They
Oh,
last an hour and then they do that. It's so
right.
funny. All right. Well, thank you for that. Another beautiful, incredible conversation, Lisa. That was awesome.
Thank you, Keith. Sure. And thank you all for listening. We really appreciate it. If you've enjoyed this conversation, please feel free to share. Please like our channel. Please feel free to share, subscribe to the channel. And then you can have these conversations every other week with us. You can use this conversation, share it with others, and then have a conversation about the conversation in consciousness. Have your own conversations in consciousness. Let's raise the consciousness of this planet. Let's start restoring paradise. Let's start reweaving the fabric of the reality with love and light. With the love and light we are. And we do this by unfurling our wings, remembering that we are these grand beings of light. We are angels in human form. This is the truth of who we are. We have the ability to create magic and miracles. And they're not really magic and miracles, they're just science. It's just how everything works. But we've just been, our attention point has been moved away from the magic and the miracles, the paradise, the beauty, the joy, the love, to some other stuff that has not been so, not nearly so satisfying. So it's time for us to take our planet back and restore paradise so we can live happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise right here, right now, in these bodies.
Yes. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, weave for yourselves a beautiful reality because you can. Bye for now.